Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be showcasing a masterclass in the G-Sor. This is a Tier 10 British Collector Heavy, and it's a pretty crazy heavy at that. First of all, it features the highest DPM for a heavy tank in Tier 10 at 3,262. Not only does it feature really good DPM, but it also has Hesh. 107 mils of pen, dealing 400 damage. That means if you get the sides or rear of really any tank, you're going to be able to rip into them with that high explosive, giving you ridiculous levels of DPM. And because the thing only has 320 damage per shot, it means that you're sitting at less than a 6-second reload. So you can literally permatrack vehicles if you're using your adrenaline and you're hitting people in the tracks. It's also fast, has a top speed of 40, reverse is at 20, and if that's not enough, it has 12 degrees of gun depression. In general, G-Sor the tank is one of the best tier 10s, and it's definitely in the OP category. My average damage in this vehicle is 3,826, and I'm rocking a 79% win rate solo, because you have to play in a vehicle solo to 3-mark it. So yeah, pretty crazy overall statistics. G-Sor the tank is a wild vehicle, and I would highly recommend to keep your eyes out for this tank if you see it on the enemy team or it enters the stores. Now, the first thing that I want to do before we take a look at the games that I 3-marked it with is the armor. Because you'd think for a vehicle that has good mobility, crazy DPM, and 12 degrees of gun depression, it wouldn't have armor, but that's actually not the case. If it's using its max gun depression, you cannot pen the upper plate. Even if it's only using like 10 degrees, it's still pretty good. Like, that's over 330 thick. Most tier 10s are generally going to struggle to cut through that. But it's not just that the upper plate's strong. Look at the turret. I mean, you're not able to pen the turret with heat because it's spaced armor, as we can see from the side here. That's all spaced armor. So if you hit the spaced armor, your shells aren't going to pen. And if you're firing standard, it's literally the same. Loading gold and not is going to basically give you the exact same chance of penetrating this tank. Not only that, but if you move the gun up and down, it can be even harder because, you know, the weak points on the top become red and the bottom becomes a pen. It's just really goofy. I'm going to showcase the weak point on this vehicle, and now that I've 3-marked it, it doesn't really matter because I don't need the plate anymore, but it's simply the gun. Just shoot at the gun. If your shells go to the left, to the right, it doesn't really matter. As long as they don't hit that thin little bar around the gun, you're going to pen every single time, as it's only about 210, and even if you hit the gun, it's only 40 mils. So yeah, you're basically guaranteed to pen the G-Sor if you just shoot at the gun of the vehicle. It's not actually that hard to cut through, which a lot of people don't know. Even if you try angling the turret, you're still able to cut right through the gun. So trying to shoot for the turret cheeks, which is what a lot of people mistakenly do, is not how you're going to end up penetrating this tank. It also has pretty good side armor, by the way, because as you can see, the armor is angled. It means that you can actually pretty steeply angle this tank, and shells are going to ricochet right off of it. So yeah, G-Sor the tank, it's pretty dumb. It's probably one of the most overpowered tier 10s in the game. And I know people always try to make fun of the fact that I call every tank OP, but trust me, this thing is pretty stupid. So here we are on Lagoon, and up against us we have an E5, VK72, Chieftain Mark 6, and an AMX 50B. And in this battle, you are going to watch an absolute farm fest in this heavy. You are going to see me tear into that VK72 and the rest of the enemy players. Now, what do we have on our team? We got an E100 IS-4 and a Kron and an Atlas. So not only do we have an advantage on the heavy side, but we have really strong heavies at that. So generally, we shouldn't really have to worry all too much when driving this vehicle. Now, I'm actually running extra HP instead of enhanced armor. Doesn't really need enhanced armor, to be totally honest, because the armor doesn't really change whether you're running it or not. We have the E5, they're crossing wide, and I usually like to poke this corner right here just to see if there's anything in front of us. However, doesn't look like it. We can see the E50 on the wide there, so for now, I'm just going to sit and wait. Let's see, does the E5 over poke? Well, they're not looking at me, which allows me to slam a gold shell right into the side of their turret. Okay, not too bad. Let's reload again. And now we're going to move over towards the other side, and we know that the VK72 is there, and we also know that the YAG is over there. The last thing I want to do is poke this corner and have a YAG and VK nuke me, so I waited for my Atlas to poke, and once he did and bled half of his health, I was able to then push up and start getting some farms. So there you go. We got a shell into the YAG. I'm going to put on my adrenaline now. Let's aim it on that YAG again. Let's go for the... Oh, that didn't even go where I wanted it to, but it went through the roof of the YAG. That's pretty lucky. Okay. Well, this time, we'll actually hit what I wanted to, which was the hatch. YAG's backing up. We have enough gold pen to cut through the superstructure of the Yag, and at this point, the Yag is pretty low. Now we have the VK-72, and we're going to start shooting that player. We're up to 2,000 damage at this point, and you can see in that brief moment there how the crazy DPM on this thing just, it rips out damage. So, I tried shooting the VK. Not the best shot for me, but oh well. We got the Leopard. Not really sure why they poked that, but bye. Sometimes people really don't have common sense. Gee, I'm a one-shot. Let me drive in front of the entire enemy team spotted. That'll go well. Well, at this point, I was thinking, I'm going to push up, because the VK-72 is not really that much of a threat, especially if I get hauled down, and even if he does pen me, I shoot him 4 times for every 1 time he hits me, so I'll double his damage. And the Yag is nowhere to be seen, so I'm not really worried about that. VK misses. We get a nice shell into his side. We're up to 2,800 damage. However, for some reason, this E5 is going for me. So we get a nice shell into his rear, and I guess we'll just back up. With this thing being able to reverse at 20, it's basically uncounterable. There you go. Another 312 into the VK-72, and we'll reload again, and let's see, is the VK going to show me? Nice. Shows me his side armor. We get a bounce that's 600 damage blocked, 3,700 dealt. We're going to load a gold shell, slam it right into his turret cheek, and at this point, we are already up to 4K. See if we can... Nah, that shell's never going to hit. But can't knock me for trying, right? Let's go to the side of the Yag. Nice shell into his rear for 342. Let's try again, and boom. There you go. Another 23. Okay, we have the E5 in front. Get one nice shell into the E5 for 314. That player's out of the game. So at this point, we have done a lot of damage. 4,676. And the enemy team still has a fairly healthy chieftain. They have a 50M and an AMX 50B, who I should have known was there because he was last spotted there. But I wasn't really paying attention because I was doing a lot of damage and I was kind of greedy. But, oh well. Let's aim it on the E50. Nice. Shell goes directly into the turret. It's pretty good. We're up to 5,000 damage now. I still have a lot of health. I mean, 1,300 is more than enough to deal with anything in front of us here. The thing that I have to be worried about is just that 50B potentially clipping me, because that tank has 12, or what is it, like 1245 clipping potential? 1260? Either way, it does enough damage that if it high rolls one shell, I can potentially die. But the chieftain shoots, so we're going to poke, go for his track. Unfortunately, it misses just by a little bit, but still pen the shell, so I can't get too mad. Chieftain shows me a side, and bruh, that was horrible. I can't believe that shell missed. Okay, well, let's see. Our Atlas is driving out sideways, and they haven't spotted the 50B, so at this point I'm assuming that the 50B is repositioned, and because of that, I can drive over to the Chieftain, get a nice high explosive shell into his side for 386, put on my adrenaline, and because this thing reloads so fast, that Chieftain didn't even think I was going to turn, and I did. So we're up to 6,000 damage now. E50 is not poking, which isn't that much of a shock, because why would you? You'll die. We have the 50B over here. However, I'm not able to hit him, so let's move up a little bit. Let's see who we can shoot. I'm going to go for the 50B first, because I'm a 3-shot, potential 2-shot for this guy. Last thing I want is to die. So, slam a shell right into him, jumping down the hill. He's out of the game. And then we have the enemy E50 in front, so we're going to aim it on his lower plate. There you go. Now we just got to reload again. 52 health on this player. Let's just go for the upper plate. Wow. I'm not really sure what happened. I think I hit him in the gun. Either way, 6,561 damage, 4 kills. That's a pretty good game. And even though we didn't block that much damage, does it really matter? This is why G-Sor the tank is such a stupid vehicle. It's the fact that you have crazy DPM, you have great gun depression, 12 degrees is the most in the entire tier, and then you pair that with the mobility, the reverse speed, and everything, and yeah, it's an absolute farm fest. It's such a stupid tank. So next, that brings us over to Vineyards, and we have an IS-4, IS-7, and a BZ-75. They also have a 268 version 4, a 183, a Gonk, and a Centurion. Okay. I mean, the only tanks that are really dangerous, the 183 is very dangerous. It can cut right through my turret. You got to be careful about that. In fact, while I was 3-marking it, there were a couple 183s, which definitely ruined some of my fun. But apart from the 183, honestly, there's not much that's scary. They don't have any autoloaders, which are the biggest threat to this vehicle, only dealing 320 damage per shot. An autoloader can take, you know, 1,000 plus health off of you before you can even deal any damage in return. That's definitely a downside, but they don't have anything scary. None of their heavies have high DPM. None of their tank destroyers are generally that scary to me, so at this point, I'm just going to move up. We are detected through the bush. I'm not actually sure what spotted me, to be honest, but probably the Centurion that's in base B, because they're over poking. So, let's try and get a shell into the Centurion. Nope, they're going to back up. Okay, well, we have the Gonk, and didn't expect that to pen, and the IS-7 over pokes, and they do shoot me, but they also bled a pretty large chunk of health. I'm not really sure why they would do that. Okay. There's a nice shell into the Centurion. IS-7 puts on his tungsten and shoots. Okay. We can poke again. We got the BZ-75. Let's see. Is the BZ there? No. Okay. IS-7, I can't really do much to. Got the Gong in the back. Just gonna chill here for now. There's really no reason for me to over poke unless... Nope. I was hoping I could cut through his lower plate. We got the Centurion. And can't hit you. Shell missed by a mile. This gun's weird. It's like accurate, but also inaccurate at the same time. Also, watch this genius BZ-75. I assisted 1,300 damage by tracking that player. And yeah, that was the end of their game, basically. They threw their entire battles so that they could try and get one shot out. Whenever people drive up that ridge, they deserve to get punished. Sometimes people get away with it, but I will go out of my way to focus people that drive over. People need to learn that driving into the open to deal 600 damage is not a good play. So we're going to go for the turret. Bruh! This gun is trolling me hard. And to be fair, we're doing fine. We've blocked 1,200 damage. We've dealt 1,600, which isn't bad. We're going to get a nice shell into the back of the BZ-75 turret. Puts us up to 2,000. We got the Centurion. Bonk! 335. Okay. We're over 2k. Centurion, I'm not going to be able to hit. And at this point, I'm just trying to think of what I really want to do. I mean, the IS-7's the main threat. I need to deal with this guy first, because Centurion's gone. I don't have to worry about being shot in the rear anymore. I'm going to go for the turret cheek. Shell misses. That's my luck. And the IS-4, they were last spotted fighting our teammate at base C, so not really going to matter. Now you can see the IS-7's going to start crying about me. Bro's crying that apparently I'm crapping on him. Well, we're going to go for the turret cheek again. And bro, that shell misses by a mile again. I'm telling you, this gun, it's good, but it's also kind of not good. Like, it's got good dispersion and on move and everything. And I'm even running V-stabs to make it even more accurate. But it's really troll. Apparently, I'm just pay to win. Did you guys know that? Well, oh well. Sucks for the IS-7. Either way, we've bled out this IS-4 a little bit. And dang, didn't have the shell. But that's okay. Let's go take this IS-7 out of the game. Bro was crying about me, so might as well, alright? Clear the gonk as well in the process. Let's see. IS-7 does shoot me for 520. We're going to get to a side, and think about it. The IS-7 has about 2,500 DPM, and I have about 3,200. So I have 1,000-ish more DPM than this IS-7 at best case scenario. And for every time this player shoots, I'm hitting him back twice. So we've already bled out this IS-7 quite a bit. It's kind of annoying they high-rolled that shell there, because that brings me down to a one-shot, but... bonk. Doesn't really matter. They're out of the game, and that puts us up to 5,100 damage. And you can see the IS-7 crying about me. So, let's see. We got the 268 version 4. Not able to hit him yet. He kills my teammate. Let's move up a little bit further and see if we can get some damage into the V4. He's backing up. And nice shell. Easy. Reloading again. 3, 2, 1. Bonk. 297. And let's try and get one more shell into the 268. There you go. 6,049 damage, 1,451 assisted, and a decent amount of damage blocked. Again, this is why G-Sor the tank is so stupid, because you just have so much going for you. There's no downside to this tank. I mean, I guess you can argue that the damage per shot's low, but, like, who cares? You reload faster, so if a tank shoots you for 600, you could potentially hit it back for like 1,200, you know? It's just, it's so nice. So there you go, another pretty good game. You know, another battle I wanted to showcase was the game I played on Normandy. The only reason why is because keep an eye on the 183 in-game chat. I figured that this would be another pretty good battle to showcase, and you'll see. Karma finds its ways. So we load into the battle. You know, I'm looking at the enemy lineup, seeing what's going on. And at this point, I'm off stream. On the last 10% of the mark, I ended off the stream because teams are getting kind of annoying. So I was like, yeah, whatever. So you can see that the 183 Tunnel Mystic Droodles. And I don't care. I've said this in the past. People tunnel me. It doesn't go well for them. It doesn't. You just put your name as a target to me. So now I'm purposely going to go out of my way to ruin that 183's game if he gets spotted. We're going to use my 12 degrees and poke this ridge in front of me. And, oh, look at that. 183 gets spotted. Okay. Well, we get 392. It's a really nice high roll. Got to make sure the Kron can't hit me. 183 shoots on the move. That's 710 we've taken off that player already. And let's see. That Kron is still looking at me, and I don't want to be in a scenario where the Kron can hit me, but he looked away. And I get another shell into the 183. And Pro Warrior is dead. And you can see I type buy in chat. 100% deserved. 100%. It's always a good feeling to take somebody out of the game like that. Now, one thing that's interesting about this tank is it actually has pretty good heat pen. Unlike a lot of the other... Oh, wow. Look at that RNG go. Thank you, game. As I said, this gun is hella troll, and I don't know why. But we'll go for a shell on the side of the Kron. 324. We're already up to 2,000 damage. It's been a minute, and we're already up to 2k. And it's such a good example of where this tank can farm. So, the BZ-75 snaps me. He overpoked for it, too. Don't worry. That BZ-75 will learn his lesson soon enough. We got a nice heat shell into the Ag. But yeah, this thing actually is pretty good heat pen. It's got, I think, 350 with Cali, which is enough that you can cut through an E100 turret. It's enough that you can cut through a Yag superstructure. So, generally, it's pretty good. And we've already farmed out the Yag now. We're up to 3,000 damage. Let's see, we got the Kron, not able to hit him. Okay, let's go for that little weak point right on the ball of the turret. And the BZ-75, I didn't even see him because I was like, who would drive over here? Who would be dumb enough to drive their 2,200 DPM heavy in the open in front of a G-Sor the tank? Well, this guy would, and I know for a fact I out-reload him, so goodbye. There's one kill. And yeah, let's go for the 100. Reloading, and 2 kills. And oh, look at that. The Yag's a one-shot. Okay, and reloading, and 3 kills. Okay, well, we have the Kron, and we also have the 62A. Let's get a shell into the side of the Kron. That puts us just shy of 5,000 damage. We're going to load a Hess shell into the rear of that Kron for another 390. 5,356. And now, we're going to try and catch the T62A. This is where that nice mobility at top speed of 40 and really good power to weight ratio come in handy. So we're going to keep going, keep going. The 62A somehow gets behind the Yag. Is the Yag AFK? Nope, they're just bad. Okay, well, let's load a Hesh. There you go. 367, and that puts us up to 5,723 damage. 4 kills. That's a pretty solid game. Once again, we can see just how good G-Sor the tank is, right? This game we dominated. With the 12 degrees we had, we just poked that ridge over and over and over and farmed everything that tried to poke. And this is basically the only tier 10 that can do that because it's the only tier 10 that can work that position that well. It's ridiculous, and it's even better when that 183 does 0 damage. Maybe next time, keep your thoughts to yourself. That brings us to the final game in the G-Sor, the game that we 3-marked it. So, let's see how we go here. Got an IS-7, BZ-75, and a Kron. So, decent tanks. They also have a Yag, 268, Standard B, and a Defender. Okay. I mean, that's not the most dangerous lineup ever. First thing we're going to do in this battle is obviously head over to base A. I'm going to ping for my team as well to go this way because you never know what your teammates are going to do. Alright, well, let's go probably to base A. I think that's the best play. I usually position in the same spots over and over and over when I drive a vehicle 12 degrees because there's only so many spots that you can work 12 degrees in. That might sound kind of counterintuitive, but what I mean by that is you want to try and use your 12, right? There's no reason in having 12 degrees if you're not going to use it. So the best spot you can put your tank in here is on this ridge line because you can work the gun depression and really you can just be a rat. So I'm expecting something to poke over here, right? I mean, they've got heavies, they've got a Yag, so never mind. The IS-7 runs away. Okay, well, if the IS-7's leaving, they probably don't have much here, right? Well, we got the Yag in the back. Let's load a gold shell to guarantee the pen. Nice 306. We're going to cap the base as well. I was only like 0.2 away from the gun mark, so I was thinking, yeah, I should. Also, can't pen the Yag superstructure. Even with heat at that angle, shows you just how strong the Yag is now. But basically, when you're this close to a gun mark, I don't care about my damage. I care about getting that last 0.2%. So, capping the base will give me XP over time, and that's pretty important. Got the Yag. I'm going to go for the lower plate. We're going to back up. And let's see. Let's reload again. I get another shell into the Yag, and bruh, they go right through me, as you can see. I don't even know where they hit, but it doesn't really matter. The Yag has incredibly good AP pen, and because of that, they are able to go right through my spaced armor. What's crazy to me is that the 268 somehow threads the shell in between the E3's track, in between it, and then manages to hit me. And I can't believe that he went for me as well. Obviously, the E3 is a well-armored vehicle, and I can understand wanting to go for my tank, but it's just crazy. This tank, I swear, it's one of the most tunneled tier 10s, because it doesn't have a lot of armor, especially on flat ground, so people always shoot it because it looks like a pinata. Unfortunately, people don't realize just how dangerous this thing is in DPM. We're already up to 2,500. I mean, that's crazy. We're going to go for the Ag hatch, and we actually bounce the hatch. Bruh. Alright, well, let's move up a little bit. I find it hilarious, by the way. I just want to pause this. The BZ75 on our team just said, thanks, team. He's blaming the team for his death. Would you like to see where the BZ75 died? Right there. He's in a heavy tank that goes 30 kilometers per hour. One of the most inaccurate slow heavies in the game. If you look at the minimap, there's not a single tank there. He went alone to base B and then got mad at his team that they went to the heavy flank in, get this, heavy tanks. The level of like, just, it's ridiculous. You guys understand what I'm saying. Also, really, that bounces? Bruh. Even the ST1's like, no problem. Yeah. If you're driving a heavy and you don't go to the heavy flank and your heavies do, and then you blame your heavies for not supporting you because you went to mid in a garbage spot, yeah, I'm gonna call you out on that one. Yeah, you can see I typed in chat, you went alone, bozo. Like, how hard is it to just look at where your team's going and stick with them? Especially when they're going to a spot that literally benefits you. Alright, well, we got the IS-7 crossing. Nice 303 into his vehicle. Puts us up to 2,800 damage. And, let's see. Can't hit the IS-7, and, oh, well, it looks like this defender's gonna poke, so we'll just aim it on him. Boom. Nice 320. Now, unfortunately, I get shot in the side by the Kron. And, you know, I probably shouldn't have stayed poking there, because that Kron could have hit me again, but it doesn't really matter. We got some bounces from the FEE, we get some bounces from the Kron, and again, this Kron thinks that, oh, you know, I've got the reload. No, you don't. Because I've got such a fast reload and my adrenaline was cooking. I mean, dude, I had a 5-second reload. That's insane. I got a high explosive shell into the standard, and I almost had the shell on him again, but we're already up to 4,500. At this point, I already knew I had the 3 mark done. We were 0.2 away. I capped a base. We're up to 4,500, and yeah, that's just a big W. I'm not going to go for the IS-7 because that's a waste of my time. Can we hit the standard? Nope. Okay. Well, I guess I am going to go for the IS-7, especially because the Kron was lost spotted over here as well, so let's see if we can get some more damage. Let's go, let's go. Kron's not over there. Okay, let's aim it on the rear of the IS-7. Okay, never mind. Once again, the gun on this tank being hella troll. Alright, well, IS-7 thinks they have the reload on me. They don't. We got the clearing shell into his vehicle. That's 4,830 damage. If we pen one more shell, we'll be over 5k. So, boom! And the TVP pushes the Kron, which causes him to miss. And he dies. So there you go, 5,146. We got a kill and a really solid game. As you can see, G-Sor the tank is... It is a tank. It's an absolute freaking beast. This vehicle is easily one of the strongest in tier 10 when you know what you're doing. And because of that, I was able to average 3,826 damage, which actually makes me the highest average damage player in this tank on the North America server. We can see the previous highest was 3,797, so I have now passed that player, and I'm the #1 highest average damage in the tank. Not only that, but in the last 30 days, I'm, like, completely smashing the record. If we go to 30 days, I guess it won't show it, but either way, we are just completely smashing the record on all-time and 30-day. This tank is insane, and you can tell why. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure to smash that subscribe button, and apart from that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.